Okay, imagine you're in one of those rooms,
Yeah.
where careers get made or completely broken in just a moment, where like one wrong move sends you out the door, but the right one opens up everything. How do you handle that? How do you thrive? Well, surprisingly, there's some pretty old wisdom with a clear take on this. It's from this fascinating little piece called The Perfect Courtier's Guide.
Hmm.
So today, on the deep dive, our mission is basically to unpack this guide, pull out the core ideas. We want to figure out what it really means to play the perfect courtier. And then this is the interesting part. See how these ideas, which seem so, well, old, are actually still incredibly relevant for you. Could be navigating office politics, trying to lead a project, maybe even just negotiating bedtime with your kids. This guide offers some shortcuts. We're boiling it down for you.
Yeah, and what's really captivating, I think, is how just one simple instruction, practically a sentence, reveals this whole complex world of strategic skills. It taps into these human dynamics that honestly haven't changed much over centuries. So it's way more than just history. It's about the real art of influence.
Totally agree. And the core instruction, it's super direct, almost simple. Play the perfect courtier. Be polite, adaptable, and diplomatic with those in power. Seems straightforward, but every single word there carries weight. So we're going to break down those three big ones: politeness, adaptability, diplomacy, and then really zero in on that last bit with those in power. Let's dig in. Okay, first up, politeness. When the guide says be polite here, are we just talking basic manners, please and thank you, or is it, something deeper, more strategic?
Oh, it's definitely more than just basic etiquette. Yeah, the guide frames politeness as fundamental. It's how you show respect, deference, especially when you're dealing with people who have more authority. Think of it less like just being nice and more like a deliberate signal. You're acknowledging the hierarchy, right? Showing you respect their position. And this kind of, let's call it strategic politeness, it's crucial for avoiding accidental offense, which, let's be honest, can be really damaging in high-stakes situations. It just smooths things over, keeps interactions positive. And that does bring up a really interesting question for you, the listener. Does this politeness have to be like genuine warmth? Or is it more about consciously showing respect because of the power dynamic? The guide seems to lean towards the second one. It's a tool, it's a skill, it's about the effect you create, not necessarily your inner feelings at that moment.
Right. That's a key difference, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not about liking the person. It's about deliberately putting on that respectful demeanor for a reason. It's like, it's not just holding the door open metaphorically. It's using that politeness to unlock the whole interaction. Like in a negotiation, maybe start off really deferential can actually disarm the other side, makes them more open to what you really want to say, even if it's pretty bold. So yeah, less about nice, more about being smart. Setting the stage. Okay, so politeness gets us in the room, sets the tone. But what happens when things inside change? When the mood shifts? That's where the guide says we need to be adaptable. What does that really look like for this perfect courtier? Especially around power. Can you maybe give an example? Like someone who gets it right versus someone who just...
Adaptability is huge for the courtier. It means you're not just, flexible. You're almost like a chameleon, but a smart one. It's having that ability to tweak your approach, your style, even how you carry yourself based on the specific situation or the mood of the person in charge. Definitely not one size fits all. So someone who nails it, they walk in, they instantly read the vibe, they pick up on cues. Maybe the boss wants bullet points today, but tomorrow needs more discussion. And they just adjust seamlessly. They might switch from being really formal to more casual, not because they lack a spine, but because they get what works right then. And the person who misses, they just stick to their script, totally oblivious, like talking past the person. If you zoom out, it points to this deep awareness of your surroundings, of the people. It's about tailoring yourself to land effectively, not just stubbornly doing it your way. It's dynamic, like a performer reading the audience.
Okay, so what does this mean for you listening? It really sounds like situational intelligence is everything. Being that smart chameleon, like the parent trying the vegetable thing. Maybe eat your broccoli isn't working, so you adapt, right? Okay, let's pretend they're tiny trees for your dinosaurs. It's adapting the pitch. Or maybe for a manager, realizing one team member needs hard data, another needs encouragement. And you adjust how you talk to each of them. It's about paying attention, reading the room, figuring out the unwritten rules, and then, adjusting course to catch the best win. Makes sense. All right, so we've got politeness setting the stage, adaptability navigating the shifts. But what about conflict? Disagreements. They happen. That's when the guide brings in diplomacy. And that word, it kind of feels like it bundles politeness and adaptability together, doesn't it? How does the guide see diplomacy, especially with powerful people?
You're right, it does bring them together, and it
Yeah.
makes something even stronger. In the guide's view, diplomacy is really the art of handling those tricky, sensitive moments, dealing with disagreements, potential blow-ups, but with real tact, real skill. It's not just dodging conflict, it's actively trying to keep relationships good, even when you have different goals or there's tension. A diplomatic courtier uses careful words, finds common ground where possible, and subtly steers things, all while staying respectful and cooperative. And what's really fascinating, I think, is that diplomacy isn't only about what you say or how you say it. Sometimes it's about what you don't say, choosing your moments. It's this active process designed to keep relationships going and get, well, constructive results with powerful people. It's about achieving your aims or guiding things without burning bridges with the very people you need. It's like a communication high wire act, really. Every little thing matters.
That's a great point. Diplomacy is active, not passive. But okay, for someone trying to be diplomatic, where's the line? Between skillfully influencing and just, avoiding the actual tough issues. How do you keep your integrity in that game?
Ah, yes. That's the tricky part, isn't it? The real nuance. Diplomacy isn't about being dishonest or sweeping problems under the rug. Not at all. It's about tackling those problems in the smartest way possible, the way most likely to lead to a good resolution without causing a huge fallout. So it might mean phrasing a criticism carefully, or finding a less direct way to deliver bad news, or maybe just waiting for the right time instead of barging in and causing a defensive reaction. A diplomatic courtier understands timing. They know some issues need patience. It's about strategic waiting, carefully chosen words, making sure your point gets heard without getting instantly shot down.
Okay, so we've got the three pillars: politeness, adaptability, diplomacy. But let's circle back to that final phrase in the instruction, the really critical part with those in power. Why is that specific context so vital? Why does it make these three qualities non-negotiable for the courtier?
It changes everything. It absolutely raises the stakes. That phrase, with those in power, turns good advice into, frankly, survival tactics. Suddenly, politeness isn't just nice. It's essential to avoid career-ending missteps, because even a small slight against someone powerful can have massive consequences, right? Adaptability becomes key to staying relevant. Powerful people often set the terms, and you have to meet them there if you want influence. You adapt or you become invisible. And diplomacy. It's critical for navigating those complex hierarchies, managing expectations, influencing, without ever seeming like you're challenging authority directly. The guide inherently gets that it's usually an uneven playing field. The courtier's success, whether back then in a literal court or now in an organization, often hangs entirely on how skillfully they deal with the boss, the leader, the authority figure. Their future, their projects, maybe even their job could depend on it. So it really makes you think, how does that power imbalance transform these qualities from just good interpersonal skills into absolute strategic imperatives? It's a whole different ballgame when someone else holds all the cards.
Yeah, exactly. So this guide isn't just saying be a nice, flexible, tactful person. It's teaching a very specific, strategic way to handle influence and hierarchy. It's about understanding that in these power imbalance situations, how you act, how you present yourself, it's not just self-expression. It's carefully managing an environment where someone else has control over what you need or want. It's about leverage, perception, that whole delicate dance. So wrapping up our deep dive here, the Perfect Courtier's Guide, though short, gives us this incredibly potent lesson. It hammers home the strategic value of being polite, adaptable, and diplomatic, especially when you're interacting with people who hold power. It's about being intentional, shaping interactions for a purpose. It's the art of influence, really boiled down.
Precisely. These aren't just, random personality points. Seen through this guide's lens, they become this interconnected toolkit, really powerful. Mastering them helps you get respect and achieve your goals, whatever they might be. It's just smart navigation for any situation where you need to work effectively with others who have influence. So here's something to think about, building on all of this. We've talked politeness, adaptability, diplomacy, specifically with those in power. But now, consider this. How could you use these same strategic behaviors, that awareness, that careful approach to build better relationships and collaborate more effectively in any situation where you want to persuade or connect? Think outside formal power. Maybe it's a difficult client, a colleague who's skeptical, a community group you need on board. Even when the power difference is subtle or informal, what small shifts in your politeness, your adaptability, your diplomacy might open up new doors the next time you really need to connect and influence someone? It's all about mastering that art of interaction.